All right. So, good afternoon once again to all of you here. And uh, we stopped here. We were discussing about the tenses, and all of you agreed on one thing, that there are three tenses, and those three are right there in front of you. They are past, present, and future. Now, this is what all the traditional books, they talk about, the way they talk about the tenses. This is what, according to them, according to the textbooks that we have gone through when we were kids, uh, we know that we have, three tenses. So we know that we have three different structures to talk about the time. Now, the problem is that in communicative language, or in English, uh, there are actually two, and these two are the original tenses. The one odd one is not actually the tense. Now it's very important to understand that why that odd one is not tense. See, what I'm trying to do here is to bring you out of misconception, misunderstanding, and give you an expanded vision, or an extended vision of expressing yourself using English, right? So I'm going to break the chains today, right? And breaking the chains means breaking the rules, right? So I'm going to make you understand that one of the rules which was taught to us when we were kids uh, is actually not the rule anyways. So in order to understand this, let me give you a rational explanation here, because I don't want you to come to a conclusion if your teacher tells you that, hey, there are only two, and everybody says, yes sir, there are two. No, no, no. Let's have arguments, let's have discussion on this. So let's take an example. Take an example. Uh, Play as a verb. All right. So our culprit of the day today is going to be the verb play. So tell me, everyone, what is the present form of play? Yes. Can anyone just put up in the chat box what could be the present form of play? Present. Present. Yes. Okay, Satyajit says playing. All right. Is it playing actually? What it could be. Playing is the ing form. So Leela says play. All right. Any other idea? Sneha, Kevo, anyone? Yeah. So Zaila also says play. All right. Maybe plays. Yeah, Sneha. So there is another option that's plays. Chisala says a play, plays, and playing. Playing is an ing form, but the actual form is play or plays. That's what Utsav agrees to. Yes, yes. Keval is right. Play only. If continuous, then playing. Perfect. Perfect, Keval. Good. Good that you resolved the doubt. So play is the present form, and it is original. Look at that word. It's it's original. Right? That form is original. So present is a tense because it has its own structure. It has its own independent form, right? So present is a tense. It's valid, right? Uh, Give me a form of past. What do you call play in past? Do you have any past form of play? So Chisala said played, and everybody would agree to that definitely. So played is the past form of that, of that word, of that verb. Uh, the only difference that you see from present to past is that you added ed as a suffix there, and that ed gave it a new form, which is original. So Grammatically, technically, these two are real tenses because they have their own form, right? You cannot use the ed form to talk about present. You cannot use the uh, just the play form to talk about past. It's impossible. Now, let's come to future, which we call a tense. Whenever you want to talk about future, and whenever you want to talk about future with respect to the word play, what is your natural answer from your natural instincts? What is that one word that you constantly use to talk about future? What is that word? Tell me. You know about it, and we all use it every day. That one word we use every day to talk about future, almost every time. So what is the future form for you? I am waiting for your replies. Yeah, will. See, now that's where we actually, okay, Ayushi says shall and will. Devashish also says shall and will. But Devashish and Ayushi, let me ask you this question very honestly, and there should be honest replies from you. How many times do you consciously and actually use shall? Tell me honestly. And you will say rarely, or you will say often, maybe, right? Yeah, if I'm wrong, Devashish Ayushi, you can tell me. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You can tell me if you use it daily, all right? So I understand your context of English. Yeah, rarely. So that's what Devashish is trying to say. Rarely. That happens rarely. You know why, Devashish, you said will or shall? That's because you have read somewhere in the books, maybe in the grammar notes of your school days, or somewhere. But you know what is the problem with the future form? The problem with the future form, as you can see in the screen, is will. There are two different words. There is will and there is play. Can someone tell me what is the word will called in English? If you know, can anyone? Yes. If you don't, you can just put no in the reply so that I can go ahead. Do you know what is will? Any definition would do if you know. What do you think the word will is for you? No one? Desire to do something later, probability. That's what Leela is saying. All right. Well, let me tell you one thing. Do you think that's the only word that's showing probability? Are there no other words to show probability? Tapan, stop sharing your enrollment number right now. We will give your attendance at the end. But yes, are there any other words which we use to talk about probabilities other than will? No one. Are there any other words? Okay, let me share with you a few words which mean the same. Probability is also shown by words like must, uh, could, can't. It can be also may or might. So look at this. You don't have will only as an option. And these are some group of words. Look at these. Look at all these words: will, can, would, may, might. They are called model auxiliaries, right? So will is actually not the original word. It's actually the model auxiliary. And look at the future form. You say will play. So play. Which form is play? Can you tell me? You know it already. Play is already a form. So play is what? Come on, guys, I'm asking. Yeah, play is a present form, Kewal. You got it right there. So future has no specific form. Look at its originality. I have my questions for the original structures of future. Play is a present form and will is a model. So present and past, they have confirmed, they have original forms, but future, I have my doubts for future because future has no actual form, and so future cannot be the tense. If you prefer Cambridge textbooks, if you prefer Macmillan textbooks, if you prefer good grammar textbooks written by people like Vivian Cook or Raymond Murphy, you will you will you will read in those books and you will see that future is not mentioned as tense. Future is mentioned as future time reference. Why reference? Because it has no proper format. Do you know you can even use present simple tense to talk about future? Do you know you can even use present continuous tense to talk about future? That is because future has no perfect format. And I'm saying this to you because you need to come out of that one word will. You know, your mind revolves around that word will more often when we talk about future. You need to come out of that singularity or that single aspect because I'm going to show it to you many more options and many more ways to talk about future. Now, future is divided into many different aspects. Let me just say some words, and you will understand that how these are different aspects. So listen to these words. Listen to these words very carefully. Decision. See, when you take a decision, it's also future. Planning. So when you talk about your plan, that also is future. Okay, what else? Planning based on evidences. Perfect. That also is future. Uh, Certainty of future. That also is one way of saying future. Possibility is also one way of talking about future. And maybe one more. Uh, let's say decisions of some concrete decisions of future. Now that also is one way of talking about future, right? And one more, schedule events or schedule ceremony or maybe uh, you know schedule classes or something. That also is future. So now see, future has different aspects, and you know what? For all these different aspects, you have different forms, and that's where you go wrong. First, what you need to do is you need to understand actually the meaning of will. Are you aware about that or not? Like you already said, Chizola said desire to do something. Now that's one way of using that word, or one of the models. Probability, Leela said, is one way of using that word, but there are many different ways of using that word. It means many things. So we will talk about models later, but let's first discuss about tenses and other tenses, preferably, which we can use to talk about future. So tell me, are you ready to talk about two separate and specific tenses which we can use to talk about future? Are you ready to discover that? Yes, tell me if you are. Then we shall go. It's only two, three, four, five are ready. No one else? Both the kiss. Okay, okay, all right, okay. Leila is fine. So let me show you. Let's first start from simple present tense. Now mark my words. Because we are going to discuss about that tense, I will definitely talk about its usages, and I will also talk about the usages which you are aware of, which you already know about. But one usage will be different, which you don't know about, and you will see it when it comes in front of you. So let's just quickly look at the present simple form. So yes, we identified that the future is not a tense. So let's very quickly look at simple present tense. We already know the form. When we use simple present tense, we don't need any ing or ed form. We just use verb in a simple format. And some examples are right there in front of you, like you speak English, or do you speak English, or maybe something like you do not if it is negative. If we are talking about third person, so if I'm talking about Ritik, if I'm talking to Bautik about Ritik, then I say he speaks English. Does he? and he does not. If it is negative with he, she, or it works in this way. So that's easy. Um, Now, let's understand how specifically can we use this tense in different ways. So let me take you to the timeline. Now, when I take you to the timeline, this is not a tense, all right? This is a timeline. So present, past, and future. It's a timeline. Whatever happens, whatever you speak, is is there on this timeline in English, right? So let me just show you first action, all right? The action. And let's say this is one action, and this action maybe started in the past, right? And then it's repeated, right? Again and again and again till present. So this is kind of an everyday action, and we use simple present tense to talk about everyday action. Everybody knows about it. This is very simple and easy. I go for a walk daily in the evening, and look at my keywords. I have my keywords like daily, every day, every Tuesday, every alternate day. Right. So that's easy. That's nothing difficult. This use is something that we already know. A repeated action. We use present simple tense to talk about repeated actions, right? So actions we do every day or our routine. Like I play tennis and she does not, and does he, and the structure remains same. Let me talk to you about one way of using this tense for a future aspect. And now let me take you to a separate timeline. Now focus, all right? Let's say this is one thing I'm talking about in future. It looks like a train to me. And I want to talk about the schedule of train. For example, I'm talking about a schedule of a train for next Wednesday. All right. The next Wednesday. Fine. And on that day, the departure time of this train is 3 p.m., or let's say randomly 4 p.m., or whatever it is. So I need to use a simple present tense because I'm talking about a scheduled event. See, I'm not talking about any other form of future. There can be many different forms of future, but I am talking about scheduled event, right? The event which is already scheduled. So I say this. I say train leaves tomorrow at 7 a.m. See, look at that. I'm using simple present to talk about one aspect of future. Now remember, future has many aspects. Let me tell you this in Gujarati or Hindi. Future na ઘણા બધા aspect છે. Right. પણ એનો એક aspect છે એ કહેવા માટે I can use simple present tense. Now the same thing in English. Future has many aspects. But one such aspect that is scheduled event of future can be described using simple present tense. And it's not can be, it has to be. It's the rule, it's the law. When you talk about scheduled events of future, you cannot use any other form or any other tenses, but it should be simple present. Let's put up an example. The train leaves tonight at 6 p.m. The party starts at 8 o'clock in the evening today. Yeah, it can be an event also. Now, most generally, this scheduled event for simple present tense, it is used to talk about transportation, schedules for transports. It can be buses or cars or trains or airplanes or anything. And it can be any event like a party or a marriage. It can even be our classes. For example, we all know that our class starts every day on, every uh, Monday at 12:15. So I can say our class starts at 12:15 next Monday. Right. So I can even talk about that in simple present tense. So simple present tense is also used to talk about scheduled events of future. So you understand this very, very quickly. Let me give you one example. Let me now show you, put in front of you an example, okay? Uh, all of you belong to good families and you all have your families around you. So you would be receiving invitation cards of different events from relatives, maybe some religious ceremonies, or maybe marriages, or maybe a reception. Yes, everyone, tell me if you do receive invitation cards, because nowadays we receive invitation cards in WhatsApp. I mean, a digital format. Tell me yes if you receive invitation cards. Do you, everyone? Yes? Only few? No one else? You can say no if you don't receive, which is going to be very odd. Yeah, you do receive. Okay, now let me ask you a next question. One more question. Do you receive, sometimes, do you receive the same invitation card in English? Yes. Do you receive an invitation card in English? Ritik says yes. Okay, Kay will also says yes. Sneha says yes. So for Sneha, it's yes. Leela also said yes. Dara, okay. Zaylam, okay. All right. Okay, okay. So everybody does. Now, let me tell you something. If you have such invitation card or a digital invitation handy in your, in your at your home or somewhere, check it out once. Somewhere down the line, it will say something like this: the ceremony starts at 10:30. The ceremony ends at 11:50, or ceremony begins at 7:30. Now, it's an invitation card of something that's going to happen in the future. So why does it say ceremony starts? Why does it not say ceremony will start? Well, that is because it's schedule of future, or schedule events of future. It's not talking about simple future, right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yes? Yes. So Leela understood. So do you guys think that this was something new that you understood today? I mean, it was one such discovery which we rarely focus on, and now it's there in front of you. So you try to use it this way. See, this is what I call a language expansion, right? Things like this, they actually make you understand that English can be more, uh, you know more, can be more extensive. It can be more than what you think it is, right? So now, rather than saying the train will leave or the bus will leave, you say it leaves. Why? Because you're talking about schedule. You are not talking about a possibility or decision, right? So, and necessarily, compulsorily, you have to use this tense. So tell me if this is very clear, and tell me if you also noted it down somewhere in the book. Yes, quickly, so that we can move ahead. Move ahead. Everyone. Oh, I'm talking to everyone. We are 36. We are 36, if I'm not wrong. I mean, no, minus two maybe, so 34. Okay. All right. Utsav. Got it. All right. Fine. So one aspect is very, very clear. All right. So now let's move on to present continuous tense. Okay, because this was the only one thing new for simple present tense. Now, present continuous tense, you already know the form and all that. We already know that we use MSR and ing. Now tell me, when do we use present continuous tense? Yes, when should we use present continuous tense? I mean, when can I say I am speaking and I'm not speaking, or you're watching a TV? When can we use present continuous tense? Yes, anyone? Anyone? Maybe Zalim or Rithik or Keval? What do you think? I'm waiting for replies. Okay, when particular action is going on, when the action is going on. Okay, one question to everyone. One to question to everyone. Shisol, Ayushi, and Cable, and everyone. Jesh, is that action going on as you speak? So, for example, I'm watching TV. So this action is going on as I say this. Do you think it is going on as you speak? Yes or no? Chizola said no. I don't understand why. So Chizola, if I say I'm watching TV right now, don't you think that it's going on right now at the moment of speaking or as I speak? Why, Kevin? Why do you think it's not going on right now? Kevin also said no. Can someone tell me why? Because I think when I say I'm watching TV right now, for me it's going on right now as I speak. Deviraj says yes. So Kevin and Kevo and maybe just all you need to explain a few things to me. I mean, just what you understand about it, right? I don't want any clarification. So maybe later. That's okay. Maybe later, but you will understand soon. Um, so let's look at a few ways of using this tense. One way we are very clear about it, we know about it, and all of you agreed that we talk about an action that is going on at the time of speaking. So something like this: I am writing, sorry, I am walking in the park, right? You are learning English now, so we all are, and that's what we are doing right now, right? You're not swimming right now, so that's something we are not doing right now. It's going on as of now. I am sitting and I'm not standing is also something that's going on right now. So one thing we use we all use present continuous tense is to talk about action going on as we speak. Now let me show you other ways of using this tense. This tense is going to be a bit more than a surprise, right? Because it has many other usages. So everybody, Chisola, Kevin, Cable, Ayushi, and everyone, yes, all 36 of us, let's focus on this. There's one more way of using present continuous tense. There are actually three different ways of using present continuous tense, which you don't know. So in total, there are four. One way you already knew. It is this one. Now the second one. So let's look at it. This is an action started in the past. It looks like study, right? It started in the past. It continued for a longer duration, and I can say it's an action in progress, right? Because it's even going on today or in present, and it may go on in future. We are not sure, but it may continue. So action may continue. Now, you know what is this called? This is called a longer action in progress, but it's it's an action, a longer action in progress, but it is for a temporary time. It's for a temporary period. Now, this is different, right? This is different than the actual present continuous tense, like I'm studying right now. Here, the keywords from right now changes to these days and nowadays. So, for example, if I say, let's say, for example, if Diviraj joined gym in the month of March. He was doing it in the month of April. He was doing it in the month of, uh, uh, you know, in the month of May and June, right? And this is July. It's still going on. So I can say that Diviraj is gymming these days. Yes, gym can be a verb. So gymming can be a verb. Or I can say Diviraj is going to gym these days. So when I say he's going to gym these days, it's an action for short time, for that duration. So it's a longer action in progress for that time. For example, I'm studying these days. Let me show you more examples and you'll understand it better. Look at these examples below. I'm studying to become a doctor. That's an action for a longer duration. But it's not permanent. It's temporary. For example, all of you are studying to become uh, a chemical engineer, or maybe a chemist, or maybe something. I don't know. So all of you are studying to become this. So maybe 6 years is a short duration, short time. Temporary. I'm reading the book Tom Sawyer. So, for example, let me ask this question to all of you. Uh, is any one of you reading a novel these days? Is any one of you reading a novel these days? Yes, tell me quickly. If you are, then say yes. Fast. Nobody. That's so horrible. You guys don't read? So nobody is reading books these days, or any novels or anything? Guys, I'm asking all of you. I was reading Tom Sawyer. No, 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 Leela. Why did you say was? So are you trying to say before and not now, Leela? Ah, in school library. No, no, no. I'm talking about right now. Is anyone reading anything right now? Any other book? Let's say, for example, Bautik is reading a Sherlock Holmes, right? And he started before a week. He has not finished yet. So he says, I'm reading Sherlock Holmes these days. So when he says Sherlock Holmes these days, that means it's these days. It's for a shorter duration of time, right? So present continuous tense also means this, right? An action which is not going on at the moment of speaking, which may not be, but it's going on these days, right? So look at the word I'm using, these days, or maybe nowadays. So I'm busy studying chemistry. Oh, right, okay. Because I am because I am busy studying chemistry. We need to change that structure right there. Because I was busy studying chemistry. Okay. All right. So this is the another way of using present continuous tense. Action in progress, for a longer duration, which is, again, not permanent, but temporary. Tell me, everyone, did you get this? Yes? Did you get the meaning of this? Did you understand the meaning of this tense? I mean, the way of using this tense? All of you? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Let me now show you one more way of using this tense, and this will take you to, again, the future concept. So, let's say, for example, I'm talking about, you know, my plan, and this plan is my planned action of future, right? So this is my future plan, in other words, I can say. And my plan is to buy a car. So let's say in present, let's if we talk about this month, right now it's July. I'm gonna buy. I'm talking about my plan for the month of December, where I want to buy a car. Okay. So what can I say? I want to talk about the future plan. Now, in order to talk about future plan, you need to use present continuous tense. You don't have any other option. So now You should say, I'm buying a car next month, or I'm buying a car in the month of December. Now, that's a future plan. Let me show you some more examples. For examples, look at the top. I'm meeting some friends after the work today or today in the evening. Okay, that's fine. So present continuous tense does not always means continuous in present. I'm not going to the party tonight. Okay, that's my plan. No, I'm not going. That's my plan. So let me tell you about my plan. The coming weekend. I'm watching a movie. I'm watching a movie the whole day. I'm watching movies the whole day. I'm right, or maybe I'm meeting my friends in the evening, or maybe I'm planning a short trip with my family, right? Uh, right, or I'm going with the family on a short trip. I cannot say I'm planning because it's already planned. So I'm going with my family on a short trip. Let's talk about your plans. What are your plans? Tell me about your plans on this Sunday or coming Sunday, or maybe tell me about your plans today evening using the present continuous tense. Let me see. What do you have to say? Yes? Yeah, you can take your time to think about it. So, what do you think? See, I'm using present continuous to talk about my future plans, right? So, I cannot always use will, okay? Now, I cannot even use present simple tense here because I'm not talking about schedule. I'm talking about the plan, right? So, what do you think of a plan? Can you talk to me about your plans for today evening? Okay, I'm going to Dubai next year. So that's his plan for, so that's Jazala's plan for next year. Fine. So that's good. Fine. Okay. What else? Come on, we are 40. So let's turn up. Ayushi, what do you think your plans are for today evening? Okay, Keval's plan is I'm visiting my village in the evening. So look at that. So he's using present continuous. So now, you know, expansion. Breaking down the rules, breaking down some simple rules of how to use and how not to use will. Right? Look at this, Fred. Ah, a meeting okay, Fred, this is confusing. A meeting event today? No, what? What meeting event? I didn't understand. I'm going to buy access. Okay, Alish, I will stop you. I'll stop everyone here. So look at what Alish is saying. Alish says, I'm going to buy. That's different. And you know why that's different? Let me just put down here why that's different. Let's look at the screen. Come out of the chat box and let's look at the screen. Let's look at it. Let's look at two other forms. I will buy a car and I am going to buy a car. These are two different forms and they say two different things. Okay. This doesn't mean your plan. So, Alish, rather than saying I'm going to buy, what should you say now? Your actual action verb must carry ing because am going to is a different form. So, what should you say now? Rather than saying I'm going to buy, you should say I. Alish, if you can rewrite.
Yes.
Yes, Alish. So what should you say? Because you cannot say I'm going to bike visit. It means something else. Ayushi cannot say I'm going to visit. Leela cannot say I'm going to write. So Devashish also cannot say I'm going to go to play because these sentences are different. When they mean different, right? So Fred says I'm meaning a person. So fine, I'm meeting a person in an event today. So Fred, you need to be clear in that regards with respect to your language you're using, right? So you should say I'm meeting a person in an event today. So Elish, your sentence should be I am buying, right, access 125 maybe next month or next week or next year, right? It cannot be I'm going to buy because they mean different. Let me tell you what is the meaning of I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy is a further extension to future planning. It is something you say when you have the evidence of things which you're going to buy or which you're going to do in present. And it's little different than the present continuous tense, right? So evidences means, let's go to the sentence of Chazala. He said, I'm going to Dubai next year. This is his plan. He has not yet booked the tickets. He doesn't even have tickets. But when in time he has tickets in front of him, right? Or he has even booked his flights. These are the evidences that say that the probability, the certainty for happening this event in future has increased at some level. So then he can say, I'm going to go to Dubai. Right. So then the fraction changes from am going to. Most of the times when in WhatsApp chat we do you remember in WhatsApp chat we say I'm gonna, right? And that's GONNA. How many I mean all of us must have used gonna sometimes in chatting. Yes? Tell me yes very quickly in the chat box if you have. Fast. See that? All of you, look at that. Janki, Dhara, Divyesh, Alish, right? So, Alish, that gonna is actually going to, right? So, when you say, I'm gonna go, or I'm gonna buy, or I'm gonna speak, or I'm gonna teach, or I'm gonna stand, this means I'm going to. And it's different than I am standing, or I am buying, or I am teaching, or I am visiting, right? So, gonna is when you talk about the evidences that you have in present about future events. Fine. So it's actually something else. So let's not focus on that right now. I will teach you that maybe in the upcoming session. Yes, that is our part in the upcoming session before we talk about the perfect tense. But no, that's not the case. And will buy is totally different. Will means to take a decision, right? So if you think that will means only probability, no, will in this case is a decision. So when you say I will buy a car, oh well, that's your decision. And you know what? You make decisions only once. You cannot keep on making it every time when people ask you about your plans. So future plans, present continuous. Okay? Yes, everyone, tell me if that is understood well so that we can go ahead and look at one more way of using present continuous tense and we can call it a day after entering our attendance. Yes, did we understand three ways of using present continuous tense? Everyone, let me see yeses and let me see doubts if you have, please. Only three? Perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's look at one last way, one last way of using present continuous. Okay, fine. So coming back to the normal timeline, now let's focus on this. So look at that. That looks like an everyday action, and that also looks like something that may continue in future. But it's not what I'm trying to say. I am trying to focus on repetition, but also irritation. So when the action is repeated with irritation, it becomes the form of complaint, right? And when you are complaining about something, when you're trying to put up a complaint about something, this is what you say with the word always. So look at that. He's always sleeping when he's at home, right? So we can also use present continuous tense to put up our complaints, right? And that's very formal with respect to language. So Look at that. Look at the way we can use. Look at a few examples right there. Look at the word always. Then another word is constantly. She's always coming to class late. He's constantly talking. I wish he would shut up. I mean, right? So repetition and irritation with always, right? He's always coming late. She's always speaking on the phone when I'm teaching, right? Or she's always trying to interrupt when I say something, right? So this is also one way of using present continuous tense, right? So I think you I think we are very, very clear about how we can use, how in two different ways we can use present simple and present continuous to talk about the future. Let me just take you back to the simple present tense, where we will understand that one concept of using simple present in future. So yes, when can we use simple present for future? When we talk about what kind of events? Tell me very quickly in the chat box. Fast. We did that already. When we talk about, look at that. So I'm trying to talk about schedule of a train. Yes, and the schedule is that the train is going to, or it's arriving on the platform at 3 p.m., right? But when? Maybe next Wednesday, or maybe this Wednesday, right? So this departs, or this arrives at 3. So I'm trying to talk about the schedule event of future. And when I talk about schedule event of future, I should use simple present tense. So rather than saying the train will leave or the train is going to leave, I have to say the train leaves tomorrow at 7, right? So the train leaves. And that's something that you have learned already, right? So that's one way of describing future. So future cannot always be talked in terms of with respect to words like will or other models, right? And there was one way that we understood very clearly with the present continuous tense, and that was this. It was about my plan. So my plan is to buy a car. When? Maybe not this month, but maybe December. All right. And then I say, I'm buying a car next month. And there, Alish, you cannot say I'm going to buy, because when you say I'm going to buy, it means something else. Yes.
Okay, sir.
All right, Alish, you can just yes. So this is what both the tenses, that's how they both look like. And the last way of using the present continuous tense was to put up the complaints, which we already did. One more time. So repetition, but irritation. He's always. So it's more often used with the word always, right? Or you can also use the word never if it is negative, right? He's never on time in the class, or he's never on time when it's about submitting assignments, right? So he's never submitting assignments on time, right? So that's how you can say, because you are using present continuous as a tense over here. So that said, I guess it's already 1:10. Must be ready for another class to attend in a few minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you the Google form sheet for the attendance, and it will pop up in a minute. There you go. And don't leave the room immediately. Once you fill in the attendance, come back to the Google chat box and let me know it's done. So let's do it quick. Oh, yes, it is possible, Jasola. We can use past and present in one statement, and it's called the statement with mixed tenses, right? It's more naturally possible when we are using uh, connectives. Let me just put down in the chat box. So yes, it's more possible when we are using connectives. Connectives are, in other words, you can also call them conjunctions, right? And when we are talking about conjunctions, Chisol, yes, we are going to talk about how to use mixed tenses in one statement or in one sentence. So no need to worry about that. We will come back to that and we'll understand how to use them. But prior to that, we also looked at the two major forms of verbs. So before leaving, let's very quickly review this one more time because it's going to help us a long way. Remember, dynamic actions, they will carry ing, but stative actions, they may not carry ing, and if they do, their meanings change. And we did a lot of exercise in order to understand how they work. So we must understand that uh, there are state verbs, there are specific state verbs which will never carry ing. Verbs like understand, verbs like believe, verbs like realize, right? Verbs like know, verbs like love, hate. These are the verbs. They will never carry ing. There are many other verbs like the same, like suggest is also one of them. You cannot carry ing. Consider is also one of them. You cannot carry ing, right? And then there are some which will carry ing at the same time. They mean something different than what they actually mean. So, for example, we did many examples actually. We did look, it has two meanings, right? So let me quickly talk to you about how we have used the word looked. So we understood that look has two meanings. Look means to observe, and look also means to look at something, right? When you are focused on something, when you move your eyes towards something, and when you are looking at that, so you use looking, right? So there you can say ing because I can see that action, right? And we have already discussed that, I think, in one of the videos. So when I move my head to things, and I, for example, right now I'm looking at the switchboard, so everybody can see that. But look has another meaning, is to observe. Is that, for example, if I see Layla very upset and sitting in the class, then I say that, oh, she looks upset, she looks depressed. Now there I cannot add ing. I cannot say she is she's looking upset, or she is looking depressed. I cannot say ing there, right? And there were different formats that we already did. We also watched the video of of Mark, who explained us about these verbs and how and the way to use them. All right, so that's it, guys, for today. We shall now come back next week and discuss about the present perfect tense and why it is different than the simple past tense. We need to understand the exact difference between present perfect and simple past. But first, we'll try to understand the structure of present perfect and the ways of using it. So, all right, guys. See you next time. I think yes, I can see all the entries done in the attendance. So see you soon, and that's it for today. I hope the session was good and you understood few things from it.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Leila. Welcome. You're welcome.